Now I'm going to follow the instructions a little bit different than they suggest. I am going to first, before I even shut the power off or remove the old fixture, attach the blades to the brackets. I'm going to be using the white side and the blades here because my room is white. They include in the red package very handy markings for each item that you're going to need. And in the instruction booklet, we will cut over to page 10, and you notice it tells you that you are going to need blade screws BB and blade washer CC. So then you can come over here. Here's CC, and here's BB. So it's a very helpful guide. Okay, each blade is now assembled on the bracket. They give you one extra screw and two extra little grommet washer type things, which actually came in handy because one of the screws decided it didn't want to work. They are a little tight to get in, and some of them required a little more force, but I was able to successfully get all of them on. I am using the white side of the blades, so the wood is going to be on the back. Great quality control, but I'm not using that side, so it's okay. This side is not a bad color if you were going to use this. My room, I don't really care. I mean, the fan is white, and so I'm going to use the white side of the blades, but also, I mean, the ceiling's white, and the walls are gray, so the white is going to go better in here. Plus, the desks that are in here are black. This is an office, so those are assembled. I do recommend using a regular screwdriver and not a drill or electric screwdriver because it is very easy to over-tighten or strip them or damage the paint. There were a couple times when this slipped, and it's much easier to control this than a drill or electric screwdriver. So I think the next step is going to be turning off the power and replacing the old fixture. I'm not going to show you how to do that because basically you'll see how I install this. You just do that in the reverse order. And there are plenty of videos online on how to take down a ceiling fan. Now this is the ceiling fan we're going to be taking down. I have nothing against the color or whatever of this one. Definitely better quality than the one I'm talking about in the video. They don't make them like they used to, but I want something a little newer. I am going to be keeping this one as a spare, because I do collect fans. I am a fan enthusiast. So I will be keeping this one. As you can see, it's got some pieces missing. But we're going to take this down. Take down the light bulbs. If you have shades, take those off. Take off the blade at the motor. And take down the actual motor and then the mounting bracket up there. And I will show you how to start assembling the new one. Now that the fan blades have been taken off, it's time to disconnect the wires. It is vitally important that you shut the power off. If you don't, well, you're going to get lit up. Or die. If you don't die instantly. Now, this can come in very handy. This is an electrical tester. Turn it on, and it will beep and light up if there's power running to any of these. There are not. Don't worry about that wire knot. That's staying because that's actually for the wiring for the house. As YouTube user UXW Bill once said, everything else can be replaced, but you can't.
Everything else can be replaced, but you can't.
So you're going to undo the wires, and then we're going to take down the mounting bracket. The old fan is now down. Those are the blades. And there's the motor and the mounting bracket. But now we're going to examine wiring. Now what this room has is a standard 2-wire system. On the wall, there is a single light switch that controls whatever fixture is in here, regardless of if there is a fan or not. In other words, you turn the switch on, and you can only control the fan by pull chain. Now, that there means you're going to have a black wire or red wire, depending on the age of the house, a white wire, and a ground wire. The ground wire is there, so if something shorts out in the electrical circuit, that will send a signal to the breaker to flip the switch off. Now, if you have a red wire coming down, but also have a white and a black, that then means that you theoretically have a separate fan and light switch, such as in the living room or master bedroom of this house. This is a newer house from 2001, so the wiring is black and white. You might have a red wire instead of your black wire, but that's an older thing. Our old house from the 60s had that. But if you have 3 wires coming up, your wiring is going to be slightly different for the fan. But we'll talk about that once I get the mounting bracket up. Important, you need to make sure that the mounting box that you're using is fan rated. I don't know if you're going to read, but this one does say it is fan rated. You're also going to want to use, when you install it, these studs. You don't want to use these little ears. Those are made for a light fixture. But let's get the mounting bracket up with the same screws that we're holding the old fan in, and I will show you how to wire the fan. Okay, I'm going to try to do this one-handed. I have removed the twist tie from the wires and motor screw K from that hole right there. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. There's a little tab on here. What you can do, if I look correctly, is sort of just insert it sideways, let it hang. Looks a little scary, but it's fine. This I have not tightened all the way either. We're not going to do that until we've made the wire connections. Now here's where things could be different for you. Off of the fan, we have a green ground wire. We have a black hot wire, and we have a white neutral wire. You're going to match color to color as much as you can. We also have a blue light wire. So in this instance, because we only have 2 wires coming out of the ceiling, forget about the ground wire for the moment, which should be either green or bare ground, only have 2 wires, white and black. The white wire from the fan is going to go to the white wire on the ceiling. The black wire on the fan is going to go to the black wire on the ceiling. And if you're in the same instance that I am, where we only have 2 wires because our fan is only controlled by a single wall switch, the blue wire is also going to go with the black wire from the fan onto the black wire from the ceiling. If you have a separate red wire in addition to your white and blacks, a third wire, the blue wire from the fan is going to go to that red wire on the ceiling, and that is going to allow for you to control the ceiling fan and light separately. So let's make those connections. I do have bigger, older wire nuts from the old fan, but I'm going to use the little orange ones that came with this fan. No need to cut or strip excess wire either, since this is only made for one mounting configuration. As a hugger, the wires are pre-stripped. Okay, the fan is wired. As you will notice, let me go up to the 3rd step. I have blue, black, black, and white, white. I have wrapped them in electrical tape, which if you're going to have this as a permanent installation, for most people that's a yes. I would go ahead and do this if you're a collector or someone like me who's only going to have it up for a month. I'm having this up for a while though. You don't need to do this, but I recommend electrical taping everything together. Don't need to do it for the ground because that doesn't actually conduct electricity. Well, it does, but it doesn't power the fan. I don't tighten this when I first put it in, but we're going to go ahead and do that now. After that, as we move the fan up, we're going to tuck these wires up into the electrical box, which actually I might be able to just do now. You want them in the electrical box if possible, so that if there is an electrical issue, it is contained in the metal box. The ground we're going to have to do when the fan is raised. So let me set you guys on a tripod and I will show you how to do that. Alright, you are on a tripod. You're on the other side, but you're still going to see what I'm seeing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my screwdriver up. Now that we have our wires up and in the electrical box, I'm going to, I don't need to use my hand for that, going to loosen these screws. And then once those are loosened, I'm actually going to go ahead and tighten up the whole mounting bracket to the electrical box. I like to leave it loose in the beginning for the wiring, but what you want to do is, you can use a drill if you want, but you want it to be real snug and hand tight. And what you can do is I'm actually going to lift the fan out of the bracket and just hold it for the moment. It weighs very little. It's probably 5 pounds, if that, so you should be able to manage holding just the little motor itself. You want it very securely hand tightened. Did that. You can use a drill if you want. I am not gonna in this case. It is now time to secure the motor. So we're gonna put it back in our little mount. You actually saw me do it that time, so that might help some of you. And we are now going to, I'm going to put my screw down there, tighten the fan up to its mounting hardware. Going to put a screw in. I'm going to hold the motor, and at this point I'm going to move the ground wire out of the way. We're going to tighten it to the bracket. It should line up, so there's no need to do that one slightly looser. And then tighten it. Going to take your second screw and mount it right up next door like this. And you want to make sure those are nice and secure too. Now that that is up, you look on this side and you'll notice that there is now, oops, wrong side for you. There we go. Now the screw hole that had a screw in it when you unboxed the fan and then you had to take it out, it now fits. So you can then secure motor screw K, I believe it's called. You can push down on this if you want. You just want that real tight. Perfect. And there is your motor. It is now up and secure. Now we're going to hang the metal bracket around the fan by loosening those screws. Now it is time to put on the metal housing of the fan. See, it says Harbor Breeze. You notice there are 4 screw holes, 2 of them that you can sort of line up and the other 2 that screws go in. What you'll notice on the fan is that there are 4 screws there, 2, and 2 screws there. What you're going to do is remove 2 of those screws that are opposite. You want to remove, say you remove that one, the closer one to me, you want to remove that far one, and then remove the other 2 completely, and then you'll be able to slide this over the 2 that you partially removed. Well, if I had just looked closer, I would have discovered this, but there's only one correct sequence that you can install this on. On the side of the motor that has 2 screws, take the one on the left out, or the one that, well, that's going to be reversed for you. But basically what I'm saying is, if you do what I did, and you try, and you take 2 of them out, and you happen to install them the wrong way, you try to hold the bracket up, and it just doesn't seem to fit, then just try the other ones, because odds are they'll fit. Took a bit of awkward positioning, but I was able to get them in. What you want to do is put the groove, put the 2 that are L-shaped on, twist them, put the third one in, tighten it, tighten the L-shaped one on that side, tighten the L-shaped one on the other side, and then put the final one in. I was having some trouble with the final one going in without getting tight halfway through, so I just gave the fan a good yank sort of towards the tighter side of the screw. It would be the left side, so I gave it a good yank this way, and it popped into place. So now that is up. Now we're basically almost there. We just have to put the blades on and the light. The blades are going to be attached with these little screws, and so we're going to take those out and put them on. And there you have it. The blades are on. You notice I put a light bulb in. We'll talk about that. The easiest way I found is to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier if you go across, because then when you have 2 on, it's balanced, so it's easier to put the 3rd and 4th ones on. Now the fan came with a little LED bulb, but I measured, and this bulb, which is a 60-watt equivalent, will fit in the fixture, including with the globe. This is a 53-watt, 890 lumen halogen. I don't believe in LEDs, don't like them, so we're going to use this bulb instead. So all that's left is to put the globe on. Change of plans. Sadly, we are going to use the included LED bulb because the globe just barely is too big or too small to fit on with the regular bulb. So all that's left now, 2 steps. Let's go test it, and we're going to put the pull chain extenders on. One more thing, if you did manage to accidentally strip one of your screws, they give you an included one for the blades. Alright, I have turned the power on. Time to flip the switch. Nothing happens. Hopefully. Oh my gosh, we have light. I'm going to actually attach the pull chain extenders right now since we know that's the light. The bulb is actually slightly brighter than I was expecting, but it's really not that bright. They cheaped out. They used to use actual heavy metal, thick extenders, but now they just use little pendants. Let's try the fan. It's going. I hear some air. Little vibration, but it's not horrible. Let's turn the light out. So there we have it. Your fan is installed, and it works, and it's tested. Smells a little odd, but I think that's from the box. We'll slow it down and check. Take it to low. I'm wondering what the low speed on this fan will be. Most people won't care, but collectors like myself do care what the low speed is. Hope it's a little quicker than that. Alright, it looks like that's the low speed. Not a great range of speeds. Let's see if I do that and then... Not a super great... I would like that to be the low speed, but in all honesty, I don't think this is going to push that much air on low. Okay, that's the low speed, it looks like. Little bit of vibration, but it's not... I mean, it's barely noticeable. So there we have it. That is your installation. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and click like if you like what you see. And follow me on the web, wix.com/theelevatorworld/fans. Bye-bye.